Welcome to Unstuck and Alive. I'm Todd Pinkston.
And I'm Stephen Nooner.
We have watched it happen.
Fear gives way to faith.
Isolation melts into belonging.
The stuck places break open and life begins to flow again.
On this show, we sit around the fire, so to speak, and listen to the real stories of everyday heroes.
Men and women who have found freedom and stepped into the unforced purpose they were made for.
If you're tired of striving, if you're longing to breathe deep, break free, and come alive again, then you're in the right spot. This is Unstuck and Alive. Let's go.
Welcome to Unstuck and Alive. What a great day we have today, guys. We got an awesome guest, a dear friend of mine, really someone that's really mentored and influenced me just by our friendship. Dr. Kary Oberbrunner. Never once has he asked me to call him doctor, but Dr. Kary Oberbrunner. I am going to butcher Kary's intro overall, but I mean, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, best-selling author of 14 books, CEO of Instant IP, which is a really interesting thing I hope we talk about, igniting souls. He's helping authors, entrepreneurs, influencers publish and protect and promote intellectual property. What the heck is that? His companies are committed to setting free world-changing ideas and award-winning. He's written books. He's a screenwriter, inventor, degrees, teaching entrepreneurship. He's a cyclist. He's a husband. He's a father. I've met his, at least one of his kids. Just what a treat. So excited to dig in. My friend Kary, welcome to the show.
Super glad to be here. I love the name of the podcast. I've listened to the very first episode. That's where I started, and big fan of all of you guys, what you're doing. Todd, great to be here with you, and we've chatted a few times, and super excited.
You bet. It's always good to have somebody with a similar haircut.
Yeah.
It's like great minds think alike.
That's right.
Which is why by the way, I screwed the stash for you, Todd, just because I needed to keep the hair balanced to this show.
Oh yeah. We might have to use that mustache other places.
All right, Todd.
And Kary, you got a lot to live up to in that intro. We better jump in.
Let's jump in, man.
We love to just start out and hear the story, and we'll dive down in different places. But man, how have you gotten to where you are today? And from all angles, from faith side, from professional side, just what has made you into the man you are in the current moment, milestones, memories, and we'll pick different spots and dive down into it. And so excited to get to know you more.
There's a great quote. I think it was Tozer who said, "Before God can use a person greatly, he must wound them deeply." And that is not a thing you'll find on a Hallmark card. That doesn't really sell in American church today. Hey, let's get God to wound us. But I'll tell you what, man, pain is a big thing, like part of my story. And I mean, I was in pain last night by choice, doing cycling, trying to hang on a very fast group virtually. And I couldn't hang with the fast group, and I'm booking, and I see in the back, there's people trying to catch me, and it's pain, right? So why do it? And then I went in a sauna, and that was pain. So why do we put ourselves in pain? I think that there's two types of pain in life. There's what's called acute pain and chronic pain. Chronic pain is where most of the world lives. Chronic pain is uninvited, purposeless, dull, and kind of always in the background. And so most people are you know what, my back hurts, I'm in chronic pain. You know what, my marriage sucks, I'm in chronic pain. You know what? And then you just start going down the line. A lot of people are in chronic pain. So what do? They self-medicate. So they self-medicate by, whatever, porn, gambling, addiction, substances, or workaholism, extreme exercise, good or bad. We become this vice type of people. For me growing up, I was in chronic pain and I chose self-injury, you know? And this was not like a thing I talked about. It actually started at a very young age through the form of biting. And then it moved into, as I got older, as a teen, it moved into actually cutting. And nobody knew about it. My parents didn't know about it. I wasn't talking about it. It's tough to track the original source of the pain, you know? Like I've done counseling a lot. Like, could it have been some form of abuse? Totally could have. Do I remember it? No. You know, so I don't even like go there. Are there signs that I could point to? 100%. But like the bottom line is like had a stuttering problem. That's how another way it manifested. So then I wouldn't speak. You know, I just wouldn't talk because kids would make fun of me. And back in the day, I don't know if you remember the Stephen and Todd, but like you had to read out loud. Maybe
A
I'm
lot.
too old. Maybe you didn't have to do that.
No, I
Yeah.
did.
But
Yeah.
like, but you know, like it would go around the room and like it was your turn to read. And like I remember standing up and being like, you know, and just like totally like not able to get my words out. And everybody laughs. And then back in the early 80s, you would get sent into the special classes. So legit, I was diagnosed with a learning disability. This kid can't comprehend things and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I just say all that to say that that's kind of how life started. But I came from a great Christian home. I would say I came from a poor home. I came from a home where we were kicked out on Christmas Eve because my mom had a stroke and my dad took 6 weeks off of work to care for us 4 kids. And, you know, I mean, even as crazy as I'm told, hey, we didn't have dinner one night. My dad says, hop in the car. God'll provide. We hit a pheasant. He takes the pheasant, throws it in the back seat with us kids. We all start screaming, and that was dinner, you know? Like stuff you look back and you're like, what? You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
So then my parents both went into full-time ministry. I kind of grew up thinking like, hey, if you're a super Christian, you know, you work for God full time, and if you're not a super Christian, you go into business. I don't know if you know, you all thought about that, but I mean that was the way I kind of grew up and always wanted to be used by God, you know, for maybe good and bad motives, but like always thought, hey, God's going to use me for a big reason, and therefore that's why I kind of felt like the spiritual attack a lot. I feel like Satan attacks those who threaten. And so just for your listeners, if they're feeling like attacked and beat down and like life's against me, I would just say, you know what? You're probably a threat. And there's probably a lot of strategy to work against you, to silence you, to shut you up. And that's why the opposite's true. Igniting souls, I think that the most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire, and that the glory of God is a man or woman fully alive. So it's like this deep battle, like, hey, what is Stephen unleashed and who is Todd, you know, totally knowing God's for him. But then there's this steal, kill, destroy thing going on.
And
It's
and,
kind of like
and
how I frameworks. Yeah.
yeah, and backing up just a little bit, if I could, you know, the idea, like I'm thinking about you and how I know you now, and the rest of your story, which you're going to get to, but the idea that if you're a super Christian, you went into full time ministry. I'm curious, like where you picked that up with, and how that, yeah.
I think for me, it was honestly, this sounds really weird, but if I get close to God, he'll get off my back. If I get close to God, he'll stop letting bad things happen to me. You know, if I got, you know, so God and I had a love-hate relationship. True story. Like even down to the like toward the end where I started to get healing. 23 years old in seminary, pastor at a solo country small church, preaching sermons on Sunday and cutting on Monday. That's like a picture of me right before getting healing, like preaching about love and grace and, you know, give your life to Jesus on Sunday. And then Monday being like, life sucks. I'm gonna cut just so I can make it through life. In other words, there's a misnomer out there that like you self-injure because you hate yourself and you want to kill yourself. Actually, self-injury for me was like I can't find words enough to explain how much pain I'm in. It's a way of like coping,
Yeah.
you know?
Hey, so dive down right there. You just laid out the picturesque. You've got a an ideal self that's presenting to the world, preaching. Things are together. Behind closed doors, the shadows just raging.
Civil war,
Yeah,
man.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a war. And then you're foreshadowing to healing of like, man, finding that true self. Like what is before you found it, what was keeping you from believing it was possible,
Yeah.
understanding it? I mean, breaking through. What kind of kept you, on one side of the line, and then how did you get through that to the other?
Yeah. And I'm looking at your URL, unstuck and alive. I was stuck and dead.
Amen, man.
I was
Yeah,
stuck and dead, you know? So when God wants to free you, he has to confront you. And true story, I mean, people don't want to hear this, but self-injury, depression, it's pride. Now, people are like, what the heck? This dude's super unkind. And here's what I want to talk about. Fixation on self is pride. You can be fixated on how
yeah,
bad you are,
yeah.
and you can be fixated on how good you are. And it's the same coin, two sides. So I was fixated on self-obsessed. That's where Satan had me going, is like, man, you're worthless, you're crap, you're a disappointment, you're not perfect. Like so I can pick
Yeah.
up extremely fast now when I meet with clients and authors who are holding back in shame, bound by perfectionists. Like I can smell that so fast and get on people because that was me, you know? And so the true nature of an unbeliever that's set free is they are not focused on self, but check it out, not humble. so so I battle this a lot with my students at Cedarville where they're like, you're teaching a branding class? Like God doesn't want to even have why do we have a brand? Like, you know, there's this you don't cease to exist. That's not helpful for God. David sees a trial and it's like Goliath's challenging the Israelites and David's like, I can take him. I think that's biblical. I think unstuck and alive person is like, put me in, coach. Let me roll. Let's go. You know, it's like an aggressive, unleashed, confident, not arrogant, humble, not hiding.
Yeah.
Okay. So what broke free everybody is God had to confront me with failure. I'm in seminary. I'm studying an MDiv, Master of Divinity in counseling. The teachers are observing me counsel behind glass. I'm not even kidding. Like it's a lab. Like legit, like it's weird, but like they would observe you behind glass, like counseling real people who signed a release form that said,
Does
"Yeah,
it have like
I'll
a
do
light
free
on the
counseling."
person?
Dude, it's crazy, man. I don't even remember this stuff, but here's what the professor said. The professor said, "Your grades are perfect, but we're gonna fail you from the class." And I'm
Oh,
like, "What? What do you mean failure?" Like failure was like the F word because it is the F word, like failure, right? So like we're gonna fail you, and I'm like, why? And they say, anytime someone brings up pain in your counseling session, you run from it. You're extremely uncomfortable. You're not fit to be a counselor. Like we can see this. Like you're so uncomfortable with pain.
hmm.
And so then what I had to do, guys, is I had to have a choice. Do I admit that I'm actually struggling or do I keep the facade? So I go privately to this professor and I legitimately, first time ever, roll up my sleeves, legit, and be like, I'm struggling with self-injury. And the guy listens. And then 3 days later, I get a notice in my student mailbox. You're failed. You're not fit to be a counselor because you're cutting. And this was at a seminary. Okay. So then I'm like, oh my gosh. Like the first time I actually go honest with my pain, I actually fail. I actually get
Yeah.
like kicked out. So then I go to the vice president, who is my mentor, and the vice president said, he can't fail you without my permission. Let's get you in counseling. Let's get you some help, but he can't fail you.
Hmm.
Turns out this professor, I'm not saying he was the enemy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but he was sleeping with one of the married students. So my whole point is like, the one guy who could have helped me was himself battling,
Yeah.
which is very common.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude,
So
that is that I don't want to blow past that, Kary.
Yeah.
That is so rich. Like that when we step out,
yes,
the first thing that often happens is a misinterpretation. Somebody does. I mean, it's so uncommon for somebody not to live in hiding
right.
that when we do it, people don't know. They run, and it affirms. I mean, for anybody that was in your shoes, the moment they said, "Hey, I'm cutting," and the fail happens, and there's not that other professor or that other president to
Yeah.
step in, man, those people just double down on hiding. Of like, dude, I
Yes.
tried when I was 15 to tell somebody I had a struggle, and they didn't understand, and I'm just going to shove it the rest of my life. And it's like, no, I mean yeah, that's the
That's
enemy, and
deep.
it often says more about that other person than it does about you. So that's really
That's
good.
deep. That's deep. Steven, you can jump on that?
I mean, why add? I mean, it's true. I mean, it's true.
It's
So
true. It's true.
yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but not to go too off topic, but like, I don't know what it is with my Instagram and my Facebook, but every single day, the last 4 weeks, I'm seeing this worship pastor fell, this school official fell, this youth pastor fell, this Bethel pastor fell. Like, is it me, or am I just like, what the heck? Am I in
It
some
seems prevalent.
algorithm trap here? You
It
know?
might be, but it seems prevalent for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I do
So
have, as we're off topic, well, I do have a friend whose wife is in the media, and has a big social media following, and she literally stopped posting negative stuff for like a period of 30 days. So it just says something that I think we crave seeing other people fail. Oftentimes, we have an interest in that because maybe we're battling our own married infidelity type stuff, right? I mean, like
yeah,
it makes us feel better. Is all I would maybe add to that. I mean, there's something there.
yeah,
But
it's
spiritually, back to what you said, kill, steal, and destroy is what's going on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Jesus said, John 10:10, I came that you might have life and life abundantly. The enemy says I came to steal, kill, and destroy. But here's the thing, guys, like this little microcosm of what I just said, I can then spin that out 2 years later, 2 years later, 2 years later, whatever, 3 years later. I mean, Stephen, you kind of know some of my story where, okay, finally I'm in the church and working there, bored, not bored of, I was an entrepreneur. Like I was an entrepreneur. I didn't know it at the time. I'm constantly coming up with ideas. I'm constantly coming up with, we should do this with the church. Hey, what if we do this? What if we do this for the community? And they're not bad. Like my leadership wasn't bad, but I wasn't the senior pastor. And eventually it just became like, we're not doing that. Let's not do that. Okay, fine. You go off in the corner and do this, but we're not going to promote it. And eventually, I mean, I wrote book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, started a side speaking thing. And then this all came to the head, guys. This is a pretty cool story that is just another layer. So I do start getting bold. I do start impacting people. Scared to death, though. And here's my point. Got this really tough coach named Chet Scott. Still, he's in my life. He's a great guy. He's just like an unfiltered dude. He's a Christian who will just call you out and cuss you out and call you the F word and all this stuff. Anyway, so he calls me. All right. And anytime you get a call from Chet at the church, you like step outside because you don't know what he's gonna say. Okay. So this so this
Turn the
is
volume
May.
down.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
This is
Too much
May
on my calls with
2012.
Todd.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is May 2012. And Chet says to me, because I started to get associated with John Maxwell the year before, because John Maxwell's like, whoa, this dude's a pastor, and like he left the church and like he's impacting people, and wow, maybe there's a place for me. So that was kind of who God used to show me a model. So Chet calls me and he's like, "Hey man, I see that you were out speaking last week. That's cool. That's cool. What does your church think?" I'm like, "I don't know. They're cool with it." He's like, "What does your senior pastor think?" He's cool with it. "What does your wife think about it?" He's cool with it. And then he's like, "What does God think about it?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then he says, "You know what? I think you're full of blank." And then I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I'll tell you what. I think you're living off the church's dime. I think you're telling everybody to live a big, adventurous, bold life, and you're scared to go all in, and you can't take the ring and stay in the Shire. Call me back when you grow a pair." Boom. Yeah. Dude, right there, I almost vomited. I literally was outside the church. I almost vomited because the dude was right.
Oh, get that get that on a YouTube reel right there and just replay it every morning. That's what you need.
But Kary,
Dude was
I gotta
right. He
ask.
was
I gotta ask. Did you know it? Was it already something you're thinking about and afraid to act, or were you blind to it and he just got you? Like, was it a blind revealed moment, or?
he no, he crystallized it. He I didn't put it all together. I just thought, whatever, you know. He put it all together, and then I thought if he sees it, everybody else must see it. And then I'm not even kidding, guys. Within 24 hours, I was in my senior pastor's office turning in my resignation.
Hmm.
Like like that, like I'm a mover, dude. Like
You are.
I'm a mover, and I was like, he's right. And so they didn't say, "Okay, you're out." They said, "Listen, you've been here 12 years. If you just leave automatically, it's going to cause a wave. What are you going to do?" That's what they said. How are you going to make money?" And I legit didn't have an answer. I was like, "I don't
You with
know."
all the books and all the
I was
speaking.
like, "I'm speaking coaching, but like I knew that couldn't replace salary, health insurance, Christian school for my kids, like, you know? But anyway, they're like, "Why don't you stay till this was May, why don't you stay till November 30th? We'll give you 1 month of severance and you can start your thing." So like legit, man, like this was me stepping out of the Shire,
Wow.
and I became so much more believable. Oh my gosh. Like it was tough. Like again, but do you see how this is layers? Like being honest about self-injury, being honest that you're not a pastor. This is the trend that like has been my whole life, and it doesn't go away. Like this is what I want people to realize. It's not like, "Oh, and then my life became easy."
Yeah.
You know, Stephen knows this story. Started igniting souls, blah blah blah. And then things are going great. And then God kind of puts in my head this blockchain IP protection concept. Okay. So now I got the successful multi-level, multi-million dollar business. Then I go to my team and I'm like, "Hey guys, hey ladies, there's something here with blockchain. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is fully, but I think we need to like also include this with our book offering. I had two women that were kind of running CFO and COO. At first, they're like, yeah, why don't you just work on that side project? We'll start meeting, and we're the integrators and CFO, and you're the visionary. We want to free you up. Don't worry about it. We'll run the Igniting Souls company. They start meeting, create a competitive company, steal my clients, start rumors that I'm suicidal. And then they and my small company, within 11 weeks, 70% left. you know, and that hurt. That hurt a ton. But that's my point. Like, you say yes to God, what God's putting in your heart, and it's like, all right, you've signed up to be stronger, so God's going to bring in the trials. So I just want people to realize, like,
Yeah.
you having trials in your life is not what Job's friends say is because you're on the wrong path. It might actually be because you're on the right path.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what I hear is you're telling these, Kary, just as we think about the book, like it's you're stuck, and then you go from trap to truth, and you become alive, right? And then you're living in a new zone of unforced purpose. What I hear is like it's like it becomes overflow out of like who you are, right? Not it's not performative, and it's really cool. Talk to me about 70% of the company. Obviously, you're those are really important. The day before you
People.
were those were really important people in your life, right? Really important relationships. You probably felt really, really deeply connected. Talk to me about that. What was on the other side of that? Like, because I think that a lot of times these relational type things are often what gets people stuck the most.
Oh yeah. Well, and I tell this. So Todd, the cool thing is like I brought Steven and Corey to my conference, and they saw it. I mean, like in our heyday, we had a conference of 600 people. We rented out a whole hotel. People flew in from Australia, the UK. We had the Author Academy Book Awards. By the way, I got sued by the Oscars because they said you can't use the Author Academy Awards. I mean, we were that big that the Oscars tried suing us. We had to rebrand our name. Well, like, but Steven, like, maybe tell Todd, like, but I mean, wasn't that like a big room, lots of people, like
Yeah,
super
I mean,
exciting?
it was incredible. And then what I would say again, and why I would go to the relational piece is it was full of people that Kary, your leadership was igniting souls. Like for me, it was a really big, scary moment. It was my children's book was coming out. It was the first time that I'd only talked to people in my faith walk about my faith one on one in a personal conversation. Kary gave me the opportunity to talk about the book and what God was doing, and I talked about it in a public environment, my faith publicly for the first time, and I was terrified. Right, that was like I was one tiny microcosm of a boiling pot of people who that were their souls were being ignited by the leadership and what you put on there, like but what God was doing through it, right? But you were leading, and it really was an igniting souls conference. And I know that some of the people involved were believers, and probably all of
Oh yeah.
those things. So I'm just kind of curious about that. And but since we brought it up, and I'm getting the chance to talk about the conference, I don't know if you know this, Kary, but Corey and I were at Barnhill. That happened like Corey was moved at that conference. We had been going down the journey of Barnhill, and it was at that conference one of your speakers spoke, and that's when Corey pulled me aside and said, "Honey, I know you've been like you've been feeling called to this, and I've been a no." She said, "The truth is, I'm afraid. I'm really scared. We have no idea what
Wow.
we're doing, right?" But it was at that conference. So literally, I made the phone call that started our walk
Mm.
of faith to being right here at Barnhill doing what we're doing now. that was at
That's
that conference.
crazy.
That souls ignited, right? I mean, like so all of that happened there, both those things. And it was because of someone that was speaking,
Yeah.
that it
Yeah.
really, really was
But that's how God is.
exactly what
Yeah.
she needed, right?
And I just want people to be encouraged on your podcast. Like, you walking in obedience with God could literally set someone else free. And Chet had to do it for me. And then I took a step, and then God used Igniting Souls Conference. But Todd, the moment everything's amazing with Igniting Souls, then COVID happens.
Hmm.
And my small little company had written the hotel an $85,000 check for the following year conference to prepay. Like, I want
Yeah.
people to realize, like, life is a risk,
Yeah.
you know? And then right?
These
Right?
are,
Like,
dude, it's good. I remember like one time Matt Chandler was preaching a sermon. He was like, you always hear the stories about money showing up in your mailbox, on the day of. But he's like, what about the stories where your tax bill comes in twice as much as you thought it was going to be?
yeah,
Like, what are the
yeah.
stories about your AC breaking down? And I think it's like, dude, we want to share those buttoned up, really pretty stories, and that's true. But without understanding the other side, man, we're not seeing the full picture.
Oh, yeah.
And if the point of it is for us to be refined, it's like, man, it's a process. It is
Yeah.
daily, and just about the time you feel like you're on the high, something knocks you down. Because when you're on the high, it can, just like you said earlier, if you're thinking about yourself, that's pride.
Mm, yeah.
And it's like, man, getting knocked down is not a bad thing. It's a good reminder that it's not about me.
But you guys do this mountain stuff that it's a great metaphor. So you guys know that I do cycling. When I train like crazy in 11 months out of the year, so that the last 3 years I could go to France and go on the Alps and do the highest, hardest mountains in the planet, I'm more confident.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying? Like,
for
I think
sure.
that's the biblical principle. It's like God puts you through all this stuff so that you're not perfect, but you have this, like, character and integrity. And, like, a good father would not give a gift to a kid if they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So every kid is praying for success and wealth and riches and fame from their father, God. And yet God is like, "No, I'm not gonna give you that gift because it would crush you. It would kill you." We see it all the time. So instead, at least for my life, God's had to put me through, oh my gosh, like beast stuff. But just like on the Alps, I can face the mountain just like on your wilderness stuff. You take those guys out in a microcosm of a hard hike, and yes, it's beautiful, and yes, it's amazing, but they're also developing, like, key if I can climb that mountain, I can go back to the marriage. If I can climb that mountain, I can face that disease. If I can climb that mountain, I can say no to my day job. I mean, don't you think?
Absolutely. Say more about it. I mean,
No,
really, like,
yeah,
what is psychologically what's happening? We read the Michael Easter, comfort crisis and a Masogi idea. I mean, I talk about it all the time, but I mean, share more on that. Like, why is it so important to continually choose the hard, not
yeah,
for the sake of the hard, but what happens through that? So, I mean, talk more about your journey in that.
yeah, man. I mean, again, this is kinda silly, but I'm gonna go to my Strava, and I just want you to see this here for a moment, okay? So, like, here's my Strava activities, and then here's my Strava activities, and here's my Strava like, my point is that when I say so basically, I bike 100 miles every week, like, with no exception, like, just constantly, okay? The point is this, just like the scriptures talk about, like, perseverance, and when perseverance has its perfect work, like, you can stand, like, God took Abraham and had to like beat the crap out of him. That should go on YouTube, right? But like, okay, I'm going to develop you into an amazing nation, and it's going to be like the sand, and the sea and the stars in the sky, and like, okay. But he's so scared he has to lie that his wife is his sister. And then he's like, okay, crud, my wife can't get pregnant. So okay, my wife says go sleep with the servant. I'm in, like the guy is making like fail after fail after fail. And I think that's why the scriptures are inviting to me, exciting, because I'm like, dang, I can relate. I can relate to that. Like I couldn't relate to a holy book where it's like, and here's the ideal person,
Yeah.
you know?
Good.
So what? I'm currently in a battle right now where instant IP is, I think, the best thing on the planet, and it's the choice for today's AI world, and it's idea protection at the speed of thought, and it's literally a button away, and it takes less than 60 seconds, and guess who I'm fighting? The United States Patent and Trademark Office. you know like, in other words, you know there's an old way for hundreds of years of protecting your IP, and I'm not trying to replace it, but I'm trying to be like, look guys, we need taxi drivers needed Uber, the horse and buggy needed a car, like entrepreneurs need a way to protect their idea the moment they think about it, because AI is already scraping their website and stealing from them, you know? So it's like, sign me up. Okay, you just entered a new battle, And some days people are like, that's the most amazing thing, I'm on board. And other days people are like, you're an idiot. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, what are you thinking? So like every day, as Steven knows, Dan Sullivan, like the number one thing you got to protect is your confidence.
It's rich.
Yeah.
All right, so dive down a little more into, we've talked about the resistance, talked about, the habit of hard, and just choosing to, to do stuff that's building your resilience. What does it look like day to day for you to be stepping out? I mean, yeah, you've had some hard things, dude. You've also stepped into some really, really big things. I mean, you've been bold. You've made some huge pivots in life. What do daily habits look like for you that
Okay.
remind you of your confidence, remind you of your identity?
Here's the most unsexy, hard one. Okay. You get an email from somebody who wants to pick your brain, and your friend told them, hey, you should talk to my friend Kary, and you should be able to pick his brain. And yet, you're a CEO of two companies, you're a full-time professor. And how do you tell this dude no, or how do you qualify this dude without sounding like a complete idiot and jerk? Because I'm a recovering people pleaser. So true story. This happened this week, and a young gentleman wanted to meet with me. So here's a practical way how to achieve that. I said, Ben, I'm honored that you want to meet with me in person for breakfast. I'm unable to, because I've already said yes. By the way, I didn't say this exactly, but I said, I've already said yes to my Opus. Just go to karyoberbrunner.com/Opus. That's literally who and what God called me to do. That document. I didn't tell him that, but I'm like, I've already said yes to some commitments. I cannot do this, but here's what I can do. Watch this 3-minute video. It talks about an impact filter. My coach, Dan Sullivan, makes me complete it before I meet with him. And by the way, this is all a system now. Like, I literally have a copy paste email with the Loom video with the Dan Sullivan's PDF. And I said, watch this 3-minute video, send me back an impact filter, and I'll send you a time that we can chat while I'm commuting back from the college that I teach at. Dude does it. He's one of the less than 10%. Less than 10% of people do this. The other 10% think probably this guy's an idiot, this guy's a jerk, who does he think he is? But the alternative is I just say yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I suffer in my marriage, I suffer in my health. I suffer, this is the tough stuff that takes like courage. So I chat with this guy named Ben on the way back yesterday, give him like 5 book recommendations, give him a plan on how to build his business. And the dude is on fire and excited. And 20 minutes after our chat, like, I haven't compromised my Opus. The dude's on the right path. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's the little stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a
So, I
recovery,
mean, that's a little example. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and like, for anyone that's not a recovering people pleaser, like that is not easy to do, right? Like that actually
That is not easy,
especially when you have a heart and you feel you can buy into this, that you're supposed to help everybody, or, like these trap type thinking that we get, right?
Oh yeah, you can be addicted to people's affirmation, and it says in the scripture that that's a snare. And I love Galatians 1:10, one of my favorite verses. Am I trying to please God, or am I trying to please man? If I'm trying to please man, I'm no longer a bond slave of Christ. It's like you can't have it both ways.
But it's a fine line.
So
yeah.
I mean, so how else does it look like? Health. I take my health super seriously. But even to fight depression, like legit, like if I didn't have endorphins popping through my head through exercise, and if I was eating like crap, and if I was watching whatever, like my depression, like I have not struggled with self-injury in, I don't know, 20 years or whatever now, more than 20 years. Like, so choose your hard, like all the stuff out there, like it's hard either way.
Peel back the health onion a little more. Like, what does that look like for you? Are you tracking blood work? Are you obviously you're tracking workouts, but like, what does that more practically look like?
Yeah.
You eating keto? I mean, obviously your hair's not growing, so you're not drinking enough collagen. But
totally. So what does it look like? I mean, little stuff like, right, or a ring, or early Gen 1 with that, like Garmin watch, right? I'm checking my, people are like, why do you wear 2 watches? Because my Apple Watch is like connected to my phone, and this is connected to my bike. So, it's like, look, man, go to bed early, stop scrolling. It's like, you know what? I struggle with sleep. I really do. I'm an insomniac. So I have my dream shot from the feed store, which is melatonin. And it's this, what else do? I bought a sauna, infrared sauna. Why? Because, I have bad genetics with heart, and I can sit there and be a victim. So like, hey, December, true story. I'm like, you know what? My dad had a heart attack at 41. I'm already on a lipid. I have been for years. I'm going to go get a CT angiogram, right? The CT angiogram comes back and it's like, you have calcium blockage in your widow's maker. Well, I could either be like, oh my gosh, like, it bugged me. I went through minor depression, first time I'm admitting it here. But I was like, what the heck? You know how I care about my health, and what the heck, And so then you got to dust yourself off and be like, okay, are we going to just throw health out the window, or are you going to double down? So I doubled down, and now I got a new path, new plan, new doctor. Like, it doesn't get easier. I mean, that's why I think people like David Goggins. That's why I think people like some of these people online, because they're just like, you know what? I can believe that. I mean, who can believe a lot of these influencers where you're like, I can't believe that.
It's good.
Hey, Kary, we kind of slid through it. I think you shared something really significant. You had 2 major people in your business, right? But essentially betrayed you, right?
Oh yeah.
We're talking about hard things, right? And we know that relationally is a lot of times where people get, I'm not going to trust him anymore. That has not been you. I'm curious, like, tell me about the inner workings of that and how you remained unstuck, or did you get stuck from that, and how long are you still working through it? I don't think That's
I love
significant.
it. Love it.
Yeah, and I
Good
think
question.
we all have stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it can put us down. So please speak to it.
So true story. I did get stuck, and I did the old opposite of what John Maxwell teaches. John Maxwell says, if you hide, no one can hurt you, but no one can help you either. I like that. So I did go into hiding, and what I mean by that is I said, fine, I'll be integrator and visionary. I'm not gonna hire another integrator, because you know what? The integrator, I let her in and blah blah blah. So I tried running the companies, both, for a few months, and I've done that before, and I can do it. But here's the danger of a visionary becoming an integrator. They dream, do, ideate, and implement, and get bored, and then they create, dream, do, ideate, implement, bored, move on to the next, move on to the next, move on to the next, because God's wired you as a visionary to create. And I'm like a 90 something on visionary and like a 43 on integrator, right? So my point is that I fell into that, and thankfully God brought along Sarah, who's amazing, and earned my trust, and I kept giving her more and more and more and more, and now she's running Igniting Souls. Well, I grow Instant IP, and of course I come back and do book architectures, and still I'm involved in Igniting Souls. But yeah, I mean, that is the true stuck and dead, thing where you just are like, fine, I'm not going to trust people.
How
And then I had
long
to
did
work through it.
how long did that cycle last?
That happened in August of 1 year. And then it took me till May before I hired her 5 hours a week to see, because she was at Scholastic. Great job, great publishing company, the kids' books. And so I was like, hey, I don't know if I want to hire you full time. I don't know if I can, but like, what if you did 5 hours a week? And like, that's how my heart had to heal. Like, okay, let's see what she does with 5 hours a week. And then it just became, and I'll never forget this. Then the following August, I was at Bob Schenefeld's Visionary Summit in Texas. And the whole talk was about how you need an integrator. And that's when I made the call at that event to be, Sarah, hey, I want to offer you a full-time role. But it almost honestly took a full year before I had a full-time integrator again.
What's interesting, just as like hearing you talk today, there's two stories that seem similar, but they're different. And one is your commitment to your Opus and the impact filter, and you can't help everyone. And then also this sort of interesting, though, like you assumed role that wasn't maybe yours to be doing for a period of time because of a setback, right? So it's like even with the Opus, relationships are often where we tend to get stuck.
Yeah.
Relationships are where we get stuck, man. Absolutely. How many people do we know that are amazing at business, and they suck at Todd, I knew a guy, I'm not even joking. This pastor said, if it weren't for people, I'd be the best pastor in the world. And like,
Yeah.
and like, and
Yes.
he was dead serious. Like, he was dead
Yeah.
serious, you know?
Mhm. That's
Um,
good.
so, yeah.
And Kary, I also just want to, highlight too the, the fact that, you're hard charging. You talked about after you got off that phone call, you turned in your resignation,
Yeah.
for the pastor job immediately. Like you're a quick decision maker.
I'm quick and I
And,
like integrity. Yeah.
and when you got burned, it took a
A
little
year.
while to grieve. It took a
Yeah.
little while to, to process through. I can totally relate. Like that is, that is something we've experienced, and it's the betrayal, and it makes you, it sends you back into the place where you just want to grab it and hold it. And like, I'm not entrusting this, but that's about me. That's pride. I don't want to get hurt again.
Yeah.
But if it's a process of being refined and it's not yours anyway, then and it's okay to go through that, because it's, you want to glean, and you want to make sure you learn as much as possible. But I just think that's freeing for people to hear, of like, even you, that multiple companies, go getter, like, man, you could start a company tomorrow. When you got burned, it took some while to grieve, and
I love
and
it.
that
And
is
you
okay.
just,
I also don't want to
yeah.
blow past, man, those two guys in your life, the phone call, and then the other guy at seminary. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they change the course of your future.
That's so
And I
true.
and I think the power of words, and then we all have that opportunity in other people's lives, of,
It is so
you
true.
can step in, and you can say the thing that nobody else has the balls to say,
Yeah.
and it can totally alter the trajectory of somebody's future. And it's like, man,
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. No, I'm glad you said that, because I am a professor too now. That's a whole story. But recently there was a female student who was scared to take action in this super dumb small way, and she kept avoiding it. And after she avoided it, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I'm like, this is bugging me. Like, I'm getting ticked, you
yeah,
know? And like, it was on a Friday and it was taking like all my brain space. And I'm like, I'm going to record a video that's kind, but I'm going to call her out personally and
let's
send
go.
this to her. And I called her out. And I'm like, look, I don't even know if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, because you're not able to do this, blah, 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 blah. But after I recorded the video, I felt good.
Yeah,
And I feel like if everybody probably listening to this right now is one decision away that from setting themselves free, setting somebody else free, they're one decision away. So I did that video, and she just pinged me on Tuesday and said, I needed that video, and I made the
let's go.
decision.
Let's go. And that speak the truth in love.
Yes.
We do, we try to split that up. It's like, speak the truth. It's like, well, great, I'll throw daggers on Facebook. I'll be the only one that's willing to say something. And it's
Yeah.
coming out of your own pride. It's coming out of your bitterness. Or
Yeah.
we think we do the loving thing, which is say nothing. Well, I'll just
Yeah.
let the
Gossip.
Holy Spirit do it. And it's like, can,
Yeah.
for sure. But what if he's trying to do it through you? And I
Uh,
mean, as you processed, you weren't quick to, make a video
no,
to, I mean, it's like, we think of calling somebody out as like, man, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to call this person out. It's
yeah.
like, no, you couldn't stop thinking about it.
It
It's
was
like,
bugging
man,
me.
oh, out of that, she felt loved, and she
Yeah.
felt called up. And she's going to
Yeah.
look back at that. She's going to be on a podcast 20 years from now talking about you. This
I hope.
bald guy
I
stepped
had
Yeah.
to
into
go
my world with a
outside.
video.
I had
Yeah.
to go outside and
Yeah.
watch the video. And I also love
Yeah.
that so often,
That's
so
good. Yeah.
often, I think people think of purpose and they think of this big P, Kary's Opus, right? But
Yeah.
in that moment, small
Yeah.
P
Yeah.
purpose from your friend changed your life,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
right? I mean, it
Yes.
just like, I think we way overcomplicate how we can be transformational in people's lives.
That's
Yeah.
right. So good.
Absolutely. All right, so Kary, tell us where are you headed? Like, what are you working on right now? What
Yeah.
are you dreaming about? What book are you writing?
Yeah.
How can people jump on with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
direction you're leading?
I'm not writing a book, which is rare. In fact, I'm relaunching this book. We went through it and updated it. And again, like, I've written 14 books, and most of them haven't done much. Like, I'm just being real. But this book, my friend, is the number one book in all patents, trademarks, copyrights, intellectual property on Amazon. I'm not a lawyer. I co-wrote it with a top lawyer. But what I see in a weird way, and again, it's a little bit woo-woo, I see humans and machines almost matrixy, where most humans are going to stop creating. And the moment you stop creating, you stop your identity as a divinely created being. Like God created and said, hey, go co-create, go have dominion. And there's most people that have become massive consumers, and they're just like, AI is going to take over and I'm just going to sit on the sideline and I'm just whatever. And I'm saying, look, dude, protect your idea. Now go out and like make it happen, you know? So I think that instant IP isn't just some little $97 protect your IP. I honestly think it keeps us on path for our divine destiny. You know, it's like a pretty epic chat, you know? And so I do feel like humanity's at a crisis right now. And if we just settle for being consumers, we're going to be very unfulfilled.
Kary, I want to just touch into this real quick, just because I've watched you with this conversation. We have incredible blessing of being a strategic coach and being around a lot of like really
Yeah.
smart, open-minded and ambitious people. And even yet, so this IP thing is just something, it's like trying to describe something that is I think it's a lot of people can't see. It's hard to understand. Talk to me like how you're approaching it. And I guess I'm also curious, like it, is all the years of ministry trying to help people see what's always there, which is God. Is there anything that you're learning from that that's allowing you to advance this downfield?
I think if I would have grown up as a son of a businessman or aspirational businessman, I think I would have been a real jerk. I really do. God had to take me through the pastorate first to see servant leadership. And that's how I run my companies. I really do. And I think you all feel that and know that like we're people centric first. You know, how can we serve? Servant leadership is one of our 4 core values. Show up, filled up is another one. Positive optimism and growth minded grit. But the point is that, do I think God's going to make instant IP XXX $1 million business? Yeah, like I really do. Like I have such dreams for instant IP. Like you go to Spotify and it says, thanks for uploading your podcast. You want to protect that with instant IP? Thanks for your YouTube video. You want to protect that with instant IP? Great job in Canva. Do you want to protect that with instant IP? Like I think instant IP becomes the platform integrated tool that it's not outside the creative process. It's actually part of the creative process. So if God chooses to make that happen, then I would have a massive platform. And if I had a massive platform, I pray that God would be glorified. But even if he doesn't, and this becomes, whatever, nothing, still be faithful, man. It's not up to me. Like I think that's what's God's telling me. Like, dude, if you think that's going to happen through you, think again. I'm out of control. Like I don't have to strive. I can't make it happen. I've already reached out to TEDx, Google, 11 Labs, Canva. Like I'm not one to just sit around. But, you know, I'm not shooting the breeze like, oh yeah, I got a meeting with the CEO of Google. Like, who knows? I don't know. It's beyond me. Can't make it happen. Maybe they'll listen to this podcast and be like, hey, we need to call that dude.
That's awesome.
Great.
Hey, if
But
we
let
could,
me close with this, Stephen, really quick. Joseph, one day is in prison. God's forgotten me. I stand up and turn down sexual temptation. I'm thrown in jail. God, my dreams are a bunch of crap. My brothers hate me. I mean, blah, 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 blah. And then the same day is in the palace. promoted to second in command of the whole country. Like that's what could happen to your listeners. You know? Prison to palace one day, boom.
That's what God can do. He loves it when the odds are stacked against him. I mean, as you read through stories time after time in Scripture, it's at the time we look around as people and think, well, nothing else can happen. It's all
That's
bad
right.
here. God shows up in a way only He can, and He
That's
gets the
right.
glory. So, yeah, Kary, how can people find you? They can find your Opus on the website.
Yeah.
How can they find you? How can they publish a book through you? How can they
Yeah.
go to school and have you as their professor? I mean, I want the pathway to Kary to to widen.
Impact filter. We know that. Impact filter.
I love it. Yeah. Cedarville, so glad that they allow a full-time entrepreneur to be a professor because they didn't have to. And I told them, if you don't want me, then that's okay. But this is how I come. Cedarville's awesome. One of the few universities who actually like hold the word of God. I really believe that. IgnitingSouls.com/apply. If people are interested in publishing, we're not the right fit for everybody, but there's a certain type of author. InstantIP.app. Use it. It's not in the App Store. We don't want anyone getting between you and your IP, but protect your first idea free. InstantIP.app. Sweet, man. You guys are awesome. I'm really proud of you. And when does your book come out? And how can people go on your mountain wilderness trip? Let's hear that. Come on.
Let's go. Book comes out when Igniting Souls publishes it. We just turned in the edits on the first manuscript, dude. We're pumped. Can't wait for that. We're shooting for like a late April launch day.
Sweet.
And man, people can find backpacking excursions that truly provide freedom and ignite the soul at wayforwardadventures.com, where we catalyze transformative Christ-centered experiences. And man, I couldn't to me, the idea of what you talked about, Way Forward is like a blip on the radar of what we need. And as we get more connected, I mean, we're wearing 2 watches these days. I mean, we are so connected, and it's great and it has its purpose. But when it bleeds over, and not many people take care of their health and their sleep like you do, we burn it from the time we wake up and check our email to the time we go to bed, and we're watching YouTube videos as we fall asleep. There is no space to be reminded of who we are. There's no space to be, for our identity to be found in the Lord and to hear those nudges. And so, whether it's Way Forward or something else, just like you're saying, we are creators designed by a grand designer, and we find joy when we can align with who He's designed us to be and live that out. And so, man, thanks for the encouragement on this.
Thanks for having me, guys. Proud of you.
Love the way you talk. Love the way you challenge. It's been an honor to kind of walk alongside of you in the book writing process, and hope to do it a lot more. So, Kary, thanks for your time.
Thank you for all of your help and the team's help as well. Love you, brother.
Thank you.